Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is, well, it's pretty straightforward. We're diving deep into a world most people only ever hear about after a disaster.
Right, the world of cybersecurity and digital forensics.
Exactly. We're going to put on our digital detective hats and give you a shortcut to understanding what happens when data needs protecting or recovering or, analyzing for a court case. We've got a really comprehensive stack of sources today. They take us from the really high-level strategies of corporate cybersecurity.
Vulnerability assessments and things like that.
Yes, all the way down to the super technical details of mobile device forensics and even the science of video enhancement. It's a fascinating journey.
It absolutely is. And what's crucial to understand here is that we are so far past the era of just, installing antivirus software and calling it a day. The whole landscape has changed.
Right.
The core challenge we're seeing in the sources is showing how organizations have to move beyond that basic security and into deep systematic forensic investigation.
So our mission is to unpack the specific tools, the techniques these digital investigators are using, and show the real difference between just standard IT services and this specialized forensic work.
Exactly.
We're covering everything from assessing business vulnerabilities proactively all the way to recovering deleted text or stabilizing some shaky surveillance footage.
It's all about the incredible detail and specificity now required to uncover digital truths. And frankly, there's just no margin for error when you're handling evidence.
Okay, so let's unpack that foundation first. Before we can even get to the evidence gathering and the recovery, we have to understand the proactive and reactive services that make up the cybersecurity defense layer.
Right, and that defense layer really breaks down into two essential categories of risk management. So proactively, every organization needs to assess its posture
Before an attack happens.
And our sources highlight two key tools here: vulnerability assessments and penetration testing.
Okay, those sound related, but I know they're critically different. So for everyone listening, what is the precise distinction between a VA and pen testing?
That's a great question, because that's where the key insight really lies. Think of a vulnerability assessment, or a VA, as kind of running a checklist.
Okay.
It identifies all the known weak spots, outdated software, default passwords, maybe some misconfigurations. It tells you what holes you have. But a VA is passive. A penetration test, on the other hand, is active. It's kinetic. You're hiring ethical hackers to actively simulate a real-world attack.
So they actually try to break in.
They try to exploit those holes, move through the system, maybe steal some data. A VA tells you where the door is unlocked. Pen testing is running the fire drill to see if you can get out before the building burns down.
That's a great analogy.
And the sobering reality is that organizations often pass the checklist but then fail the drill because of a simple human error or a weak incident response.
That makes perfect sense. So once that drill fails, or a real breach happens, that's when the reactive services kick in. Our sources talk about robust incident response plans and data breach investigations.
Absolutely. That's all about containment and triage. But the proactive side also includes things like regular security audits and compliance checks.
Making sure you meet the standards.
Exactly. And critically, employee cybersecurity training. Because you can have the most sophisticated firewalls in the world, but if one employee clicks on a phishing link,
The whole thing can come down.
the entire technological defense can be bypassed instantly. The human element is almost always the weakest link.
And that connects directly to the individual level, right? We saw in the sources that this isn't just for corporations. Individuals need specific guidance on personal security.
Precisely. And that personal guidance really centers on three key areas. Just, protecting yourself online in general, mastering mobile device security, and understanding the risks of social media security.
And why is that mobile guidance so crucial right now?
Because the attack surface is literally in your hand all the time. Most people treat their phone like this casual access point, but they're not really thinking about the fact that it holds the keys to their bank, their work email, their biometric data.
Their location history.
Everything. So understanding mobile security isn't just about avoiding malware. It's about managing app permissions, using strong biometrics, and just recognizing that your data is stored across all these different vulnerable platforms at the same time.
Okay, now let's shift gears completely. We're moving beyond that general prevention and security and into the really specialized work of evidence collection and deep analysis.
The realm of digital forensics.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, this transition is significant because we're moving from defense to offense. The focus shifts entirely to reconstruction, finding out what happened, who was involved, and providing legally admissible evidence.
And it's not just one field, is it?
No, not at all. Our sources break digital forensics down into 4 distinct essential domains because, our digital lives are not just on a desktop computer anymore.
Well, let's walk through those domains, starting with the traditional core. Computer forensics, that's where it all started, right?
Okay.
Dealing with hard drives, local data.
That's right. Computer forensics handles things like data recovery, e-discovery, which is basically producing electronic information for legal proceedings, malware analysis, and of course, the crucial collection and preservation of evidence from traditional computers. Your classic hard drive investigation.
But the world has obviously moved on.
Yeah.
So the second domain, and maybe the most explosive area of growth, is mobile device forensics.
Absolutely. This involves a specialized, extremely nuanced examination of smartphones and tablets. And it's complex because these operating systems are built to protect user data so fiercely.
Which is great for us as users.
Great for security, but a nightmare for investigators.
Okay, next up we have the platform layer. Social media forensics. That has to be a huge challenge, just given how fast and disposable content can be on platforms like Instagram or X.
It is a massive challenge. Social media forensics focuses on investigating online activity, behavior, and the metadata that goes with it, like timestamps, device info, all of that.
So not just what someone posted, but when they posted it.
And maybe more importantly, what content did they delete or try to hide?
And finally, a domain that's a bit newer but is becoming more and more important, cloud forensics.
Right. Cloud forensics investigates data stored in remote cloud environments. So that could be AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or even just your personal iCloud or Dropbox.
The complexity there must be huge. The data could be anywhere in the world.
Exactly. The jurisdictional issues are a whole other deep dive, but it holds massive amounts of evidence.
So when you look at those 4 domains, computer, mobile, social media, and cloud, it means digital investigation covers literally every single place your data exists.
The physical device, the platforms you use, and the remote servers where it's all stored. Nothing escapes that forensic scope.
Let's drill down into mobile forensics, because this is where the techniques get, as you said, truly surgical. We use these devices constantly, so the data recovered is often the most personal and revealing.
For sure. And our sources detail highly specific services for both iOS and Android platforms. And they're distinct fields because the architecture of the operating systems is just fundamentally different.
Oh, so?
Apple's iOS is a closed, walled garden, It prioritizes security with things like the secure enclave and complex encryption. So iOS forensics is often about bypassing those security measures to get at the data.
Which explains why the iOS services listed are so focused on getting past those barriers. Specialized data recovery, even from shattered phones.
Or water-damaged ones, yeah.
And forensic password recovery or lock bypass techniques.
Correct. And iOS services also really prioritize spyware analysis and detection. Because the file system is so hard to access, if data is leaking out, it often means the phone's been compromised by some pretty sophisticated surveillance software.
Android, though, is open source. It's completely different. How does that change the forensic approach?
Android presents a unique opportunity for a much deeper investigation. Instead of just trying to bypass the lock screen, Android services use techniques designed to access the raw storage itself.
You mean like physical imaging? I saw that term.
Yeah.
What is that exactly? And why is it different from just, say, copying a backup?
That's a vital distinction. Physical imaging is creating a bit-by-bit copy of the entire memory space of the device. It's not just copying the active files you can see.
So it gets everything.
It captures deleted files, fragments of data, and most importantly, all the metadata. Think of metadata as the digital fingerprints. The timestamps, creation dates, last access times. That level of detail is critical for court. And Android analysis also frequently requires rooting the device.
Okay, rooting sounds highly invasive. For the listener, what exactly does that process unlock? Why do the sources stress that you need specific rooting permission?
Rooting is gaining administrator-level access to the operating system itself. A normal backup is like looking at the front door. Rooting is like seeing the blueprint of the whole house.
Wow.
It unlocks deeper areas of the file system that hold artifacts like specific app data, system logs, and data the user thought was permanently deleted. And because it fundamentally alters the device, it's considered highly invasive. Legally, investigators have to get explicit permission to do it.
Which ties directly back to legal integrity. It's clear that to do any of this, certain procedures have to be followed. What are those mandatory steps before an investigator can even touch a device?
This is completely non-negotiable for admissibility in court. 3 things are always mandatory. the device's passcode or pattern, a completed intake form that details the scope of the investigation,
And the chain of custody.
and the crucial chain of custody documentation.
The chain of custody sounds like simple paperwork, but I'm guessing it's a lot more important than that.
It is the absolute bedrock of digital evidence. The chain of custody tracks every single person who has handled the device or the data from the moment it was seized until it's presented in court.
And if that chain is broken,
If there's a gap or a lack of documentation showing how it was preserved, the entire investigation, no matter how accurate it was, can be deemed inadmissible and thrown out of court. It protects the integrity of the whole process.
so once all that is secured, the services are broken down by depth. I see quick collection services versus advanced collection.
Right. Quick collection is fast. It's useful for an initial look things like simple backups, screenshot analysis. It gives you an immediate view.
And advanced.
Advanced collection is the truly in-depth, time-consuming work. Manual forensic analysis, deep deleted or hidden file recovery, and comprehensive malware identification. It's the difference between skimming a file and meticulously reconstructing files that someone tried to erase 6 months ago.
All right, let's shift from those hidden digital files to something more visual, but often just as unclear. Video evidence. Footage from surveillance cameras, dash cams, body cams. It's frequently shaky or dark. What techniques are used to make that footage actually useful?
The challenge with visual evidence is balancing enhancement with ethical integrity. You're working with the data that's there. You're not inventing new data.
Right.
The primary technique is video clarity enhancement. That involves computationally improving resolution, brightness, contrast, sharpness, all of that. It's absolutely crucial for identifying people or objects in really grainy, low-quality recordings.
That brings up a critical question, though. It sounds a bit like a Hollywood movie. Can you really enhance a blurry image to read a license plate? Or is there a hard scientific limit?
That is the classic CSI effect misconception. There is a limit. If the original camera only recorded, say, 4 pixels for a license plate, you cannot magically invent 40 new pixels to read the number.
Okay, that makes sense.
Enhancement works by improving the visibility of data that already exists, reducing noise, correcting distortion, clarifying edges. It makes the evidence clearer. It doesn't create new evidence. And beyond just cleanup, stabilization is vital. Video stabilization reduces the effects of camera shake or sudden movement. This is especially helpful for body cams or mobile phone recordings, where the subject might otherwise be impossible to track.
And the analysis can get even more granular than that, right?
Oh, yes. Investigators use frame-by-frame analysis. They're looking at individual frames, maybe 24 or 30 frames per second, to identify tiny details, subtle actions, or just to pin down the exact sequence of events.
So you're basically slowing down time.
You're slowing time down to capture what the human eye just misses in real time.
They can also focus on specific areas with zoom and magnification, enhancing one part of the video without messing with the rest of the image. I imagine that's crucial for looking at a weapon or something suspicious.
Exactly. And a highly specialized service is object tracking. This involves digitally tagging and following the movement of a specific person or vehicle throughout the footage. It helps map out escape routes or identify suspects across a long timeline.
This brings us to the final and most important question for this section. Once the footage has been processed so meticulously, how is it actually used in the legal system?
It has to be prepared to go from just a raw video file to admissible evidence. This requires specialized evidence preparation formatting the enhanced video in a way that is clear, undeniable, and preserves the original copy alongside the enhanced one.
So they see both versions.
They have to. They also provide forensic video review and interpretation.
And that interpretation part is key.
It is. The expert doesn't just hand over a video. They provide investigative insights, they confirm timelines, and critically, they reconstruct the sequence and the context of the events. They explain what the video means, why it's relevant, and how the enhancement process maintains scientific integrity.
So what does this all mean? In this deep dive, we've really journeyed through the entire spectrum of digital defense and investigation. We started with proactive cybersecurity differentiating assessments and pen testing, and we ended with the micro-level task of recovering a single deleted file or, stabilizing a blurry video.
The depth and specialization of these services, it all underscores a fundamental realization. Digital information today is incredibly valuable, whether it's business secrets or legal evidence in a criminal case. It just shows how complex the process is, both technically and legally, to secure it, to protect it, and ultimately to uncover it legally and ethically.
Yeah, this is far from trivial work. We hope this deep dive provided you with a clear roadmap, cutting through some of the technical jargon and really revealing just how intricate and high stakes the world of digital investigation has become.
So, a final thought to leave you with. Given the level of detail that's available through physical imaging and deleted file recovery on mobile devices, even broken or locked ones, what changes might you make today about how and where you store sensitive passwords, or confidential documents, or personal communications, knowing that virtually nothing stored digitally is ever truly gone, only hidden until a forensic investigator decides to look? Something to think about as you navigate your digital life.